Hi, this is Jeff Carroll. Welcome to the Sci-Fi Express Lane. I want to talk about, sci-fi writer, filmmaker, all that. Today's topic is one battle after another. And I just want to try to go as fast as I can, but I also want to try to hit everything that I can. So it may not go 15 minutes, but it may, depending on how well I answer my own questions. So I felt, after I watched this Saturday, and I've had a chance to interact with people, had the chance to watch some podcasts on it, and my immediate in the theater reaction was suspect. I was questioning it, and I was questioning it because first it came off like it was a fictional story, but then it blurred the line whether it was fictional or inspired by somebody real. And it was a story about revolutionaries that was sort of convoluted. It was like, one thing was sure, they were dealing with liberal issues. So now you're dealing with liberal radicals, okay, which are different than the Dr. King, the Malcolm X, protesters and organization builders, different than the Black Panthers. You know, you see posters with the Black Panthers with guns, but they weren't, running around robbing banks and stuff like that. So there was some elements of it that I felt were squished into one. And I don't think that's right. I don't think you could, every organization that wants and fights for justice is not doing it all the same way. They have different characteristics. So to me, my overall opinion was it was blasphemous, right? And I feel it was almost propaganda. Why do I say propaganda? So first, I frame it like that. When I got home, I Googled it and found that it was influenced by the Waterman Group, right? Which was an organization of radicals, right? They were just like the organization in the movie. However, it's very hard to find people that's liberating immigrants, that's dealing with women's rights, that's dealing with racial issues, or that's black. Black people have black people as their biggest issue. And it's very hard for them to go hard for other people. I mean, in the future, you never know. And there's individuals that may be a part of organizations like that, but not the face of it. Definitely not leading it. We have pushback on, black people taking on other people's issues in the first place. Even though they're all our issues, even though they're all women issues, they're all immigration is a universal issue. Black people deal with racism, right? So that became a problem for me accepting Tiana Taylor, who was a wild radical. You know what I'm saying? She had speech patterns that reminded you of Assata Shakur. And she got pregnant like a Afeni Shakur. And you was like, wow, this is just like some of the Black Panther sisters, until you hear her open her mouth, and then you see how she's talking. I mean, what she's doing. You're like, that's not who Afeni was. Afeni wasn't doing that. They would like you to believe that the Black Panthers was violent, that they were doing the same things that the Ku Klux Klan does. They were running around here like the Proud Boys or skinheads, or Antifa, but they weren't. The Black Panthers was an organized organization. They just had gun rights as one of their 10-point plan, but they were very much like the NAACP. They were an organized political party. Political parties don't run around robbing people, right? So now COINTELPRO tried to paint them in a bad light, but you can Google that. I'm not dealing with the history because that's too much. But I would just say that they got it wrong, I think it was Heidi Fleiss who was kidnapped at 19. Not Heidi Fleiss, Hearst. God, I forgot her name. Hearst. Her father was a media mogul. He owned a lot of newspapers. And she got Patty Hearst, right? She got kidnapped at 19, and she ran with the people that kidnapped her and started doing things that they did, like robbing banks. She got pictured with a gun. She got pictured standing in the door, watching them rob, helping them rob a bank. So that's kind of, more directly related to this. But to me, I think it's blasphemy because, black people are very strong in their what is called on code. We will drop you if you are running around sleeping with the enemy. Well, let's just say the white person, or you're not pro-black. All of that is what black revolutionaries have to do to the epitome. As a black person, okay, you can get down with interracial relations, and we still might say, you cool, you ain't gonna lose your black card as long as you still stay strong with the black community. But if you're a black revolutionary, you're gonna get canceled. Ain't nobody gonna follow you. It's very hard to pull that together. So for Tiana Taylor, I don't think she would be a part of any black revolutionary organization if that was the case. Maybe she could be a part of the NAACP. I've seen them have leaders that had interracial relations, not leaders, but people involved in the organization, but it's still a thing. And so I don't know what fictitious organization they think would allow something like that. Not on a Black Watch. And so for me, that was the biggest problem. Now, outside of the biggest problems, it was a good movie. It had good lines. It had a lot of fun. I'm laughing at Sean Penn and joking. But outside of that, I felt bad for Leonardo DiCaprio. You know what I'm saying? It was triggering to me because I know women that have lied about paternity, and kept it a secret. So whether Tiana Taylor knew or she didn't know, she was still messing with another dude and could have got pregnant by both of them and probably didn't know who the baby was. And she obviously didn't know the baby because who the baby's father was, because the baby's father wasn't Leonardo DiCaprio. Spoiler alert. So to me, that's messed up mom. And why do I, say stuff about the mom? Because she was central to the story. Wouldn't have been no movie without what she did and it was about her daughter and about the love that Leonardo DiCaprio had for the daughter, and then for the Sean Penn's character. He trying to be a full-out white supremacist, and he can't get in the organization because of what she and he did. So he had to knock and take her out, and then he had to try to get to the daughter because he didn't even know, he didn't even know the daughter was around. So once he figured that out, that's the whole story. Forget Benicio del Toro, right? And the Latinos. They were the best organization in the movie. I don't even think he went down when he got pulled over by the police. But they were the strongest organization. Everything else was ragtag. Wood Harris, he's in the Jungle Fever relationship. All right, I get it, but not in a black organization, not fighting for black cause. Tiana Taylor, she out here doing to white people what they did to us. No black person, no black liberation movement does that. That's where the propaganda comes in again, where she's telling him to jerk off and masturbate. He was right when he got to the board. He was molested. You understand? He was molested. He probably developed feelings for her after that. He didn't get jungle fever. He got Tiana Taylor fever. He ran around and looked for her, and they continued their relationship. But if he wasn't sexually assaulted, he probably wouldn't have messed with her because he had a whole lot of Mexicans and South Americans and all that in captivity. And if he didn't mess with them, he wouldn't have messed, he wouldn't have messed with them at all. So he didn't have jungle fever. He was right. He was sexually assaulted. Now, it wasn't rape like he tried to say, because rape is real. It's penetration. He was definitely sexually assaulted. And she's crazy. She's wild. I wouldn't run with nobody like that. It would jeopardize the whole organization. And of course, she was a rat. you know? So, anyway, that to me collapsed the whole movie. As fun as it was, her character, the things that she did, just collapsed it, ruined it. It was a beautiful movie, you understand? But the elements that she brought to the movie fucked it all up. I'm sorry to curse, but God, dog, I was enjoying, loving, and laughing. But, you know, then I found out it was racial swapped. You know, this is a white organization. The Weathermen didn't have no black people in it. You know, it was like 99% white. If they had a black person, you know, they was using them. They wouldn't let them in a circle. He wasn't no leader or nothing like that, like Wood Harris or homegirl from, from Girls Trip. Can't remember her name. Pretty actress. You know, so, listen, some movies, if you're going to do fiction, do fiction. Don't muddy the waters, because that's where they failed. They didn't make it about a fictitious organization only. They took from real stories and blurred the line, and so that confused people, because I'm telling you, people gonna think that's how revolutionary organizations work. That's how radicals do. And I may not have never been in the Black Panthers or radical organizations, but I've been close enough to them, and I saw people that were in them, and they don't do stuff like that. We were lynched, but we don't lynch the people that lynched us. We just want equality. So that's nonsense, okay? Let's just get rid of that. But that's the propaganda. So yeah, I will say this movie could have been a 9 or a 10, and as good as everybody thought it was, but because of the lies and the misinformation, gotta knock it down to like a 2. Really, for real. And I might give it a 0 the more I think about it. If their propaganda starts to impact people like Torre, who thinks that Tiana Taylor is some type of image of Assata Shakur, get the heck out of here. He don't know his daggone history. You know what I'm saying? He's running with kissing up reviews. So anyway, yeah, I think it could have been good, but you know, it's a 2 right now. All right, that's it. Do your Googling, get on the work, look up the Weatherman Group, Google the inspiration for the movie, you know, Google Assata Shakur. She wrote a book. You know, there's documentaries on Afeni Shakur, Tupac's mom. These are real people, you know. Google Patty Hearst, you know. So there's a lot you can Google here, but it ain't going to make the movie any better, because the movie is a pack of lies. All right, deuces. Jeff Carroll, Sci-Fi Express Lane. Feel free to, what do you call it? Like, share, comment, all that stuff. Subscribe. I do this all the time. All right, peace.